Hello and welcome to another episode of the It's the Pictures podcast. This is episode number 202, and I am your host, Max Colville, coming from you live at the 50th Annual Toronto International Film Festival. I don't have too much on the plate this evening. Basically, the idea is to give some recent film news as well as some early reviews out of Telluride and Venice. Some films have already made their debut in the fall festival circuit and gotten some pretty glowing reviews. And then I have a little bit of what you've been watching at the end. I've watched some new movies that I wanted to share with everyone here. But first, let's go to the news. The first news item that I saw recently was that the Highlander reboot is coming along, the one that is now at Amazon MGM, and it has added star Karen Gillan, who probably best known for either Doctor Who or Guardians of the Galaxy at this point. I believe she's going to play one of the love interests of Henry Cavill, who is taking the role as the Highlander this time around. You know, this movie has seen a lot of starts and stops, but I'm still interested. Chad Stahelski, who does John Wick, is scheduled to be in the director's chair, so it's got some good things going on for it. We'll just see if it all comes together in a satisfying way, and I'm glad we're getting closer given that there's more stars attached to it. In other news, I think we talked previously on the podcast about the animation smash K-pop Demon Hunters, and if you haven't heard us talk about it on the podcast, I've done a little writing about it on the It's the Pictures newsletter in the past. But recently, the K-pop Demon Hunters had become the most watched Netflix film of all time. That's right. I guess the list wasn't that amazing. I think the previous record holder was this film with Dwayne Johnson called Red Notice, which I had never seen and kind of forgot existed. So I don't know if that's quite the badge of honor K-pop Demon Hunters really wants, but it just shows that the movie has a lot of staying power and people have watched it multiple times. It's hard to imagine it not being a major player this year, and apparently talks with Sony have already begun because originally Sony is the one who sold the film to Netflix, so we'll see if both sides can work a deal out for a sequel. In other news, the latest Star Wars film, Star Wars Starfighter, has begun production. This one has Ryan Gosling in it, and I guess it's directed by, I guess he works with Ryan Reynolds a lot, even though now he's working with Ryan Gosling. Sean Levy, who did, I think he did Free Guy, which is the movie with Ryan Reynolds, who was the video game character. But I haven't really loved Sean Levy's films in the past. I don't think he's that great of a director, but maybe he's the right fit for Star Wars. He seems to get films across the finish line, and if nothing else, this is the first film for Star Wars that has really gotten to the production line since Rise of the Skywalker came out what seems like forever ago now. It's funny I feel that way because we get Star Wars projects so often now, and there was a clip where they were coming out every year or two, but now it feels like it's been a while. So I'm definitely excited for a new one. I think they want to have it drop in 2027. They're also going to have screenings of Star Wars A New Hope around that time to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Star Wars, so that would make a lot of sense to drop it around then. Meanwhile, Disney also had another kind of, I guess you could say a production meeting, or you could say, how D23 is with fans and everything, but this is something different. I think it was called Destination 23, which isn't confusing at all. And the idea was that Disney announced a whole bunch of plans for home video releases. They announced, like, I guess Tron and Tron Legacy were coming out to 4K before the release of Tron Ares, and they also announced their big animation film that they have scheduled for November 2026, because Disney always tries to have like a big film coming out on Thanksgiving weekend, and this time it's going to be a film called Hexed, which apparently the log line is it's an awkward teenage boy and his type A mom discover that what makes him unusual might just be magical powers that will turn their lives in a secret world of magic upside down. I don't think there's any other information included, like who's going to be the voice actors yet, but Disney's working on it for next November, so I'm sure we'll see more of Hexed pretty soon. In other news, there's a Call of Duty movie in the works, according to Hollywood Reporter. This week, Paramount has struck a major deal with Activision Microsoft to make a Call of Duty video game come true. What that will ultimately look like, I don't know. We've had plenty of war movies over the years, so I'm sure it will look somewhat like that. I don't know. Calling like a film Call of Duty is not exactly something to get me to jump up and down. The franchise has been a bestseller and one of the most notable franchises in gaming for the last maybe 2 decades now, so it certainly makes sense to make a movie with that name on it, but I don't know. I guess I'm not too interested to see what the video game equivalent of a war movie is going to look like. I don't know. Not my bag. And then this morning, I'm recording this as of Wednesday, James Gunn took to social media and announced that his next Superman film, Superman, I think it's World of Tomorrow, is going to come out in July of 27. So, quick turnaround on that one. They're going to probably get right on getting the cast back together and filming that sequel, which is great because I really enjoyed the new Superman, and I'm excited to see that cast come together again. It's good that it didn't take too long to make that announcement. All right. So in the future, I was going to look at some early reviews out of Telluride and Venice. So far, from what I've seen online, the movies that critics are most ecstatic about are films like Catherine Bigelow's new A House of Dynamite coming to Netflix. Netflix just released a teaser for that today, so you might want to check that one out. It was a pretty effective teaser trailer, but my friend Marshall Schaefer, and he's been on the podcast quite a few times, he reviewed A House of Dynamite for the playlist, and he says, quote, "The world is not governed by machines, as A House of Dynamite painstakingly showcases across all its frenzied operations. It's run by humans. Bigelow's film pinpoints a terrifying tragedy lurking unspoken in today's world order. Whether citizens place their trust in people or procedures, neither can be counted on to prevent mass destruction." And currently, the film has a high 90s reviews on Metacritic, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's the focus of Netflix's end of the year awards push, because Venice, they also released a few other movies. There was the first look at Frankenstein, which is the Guillermo del Toro, which I'm going to have an opportunity to watch at TIFF, so I won't share too many reviews from that now. There's also the George Clooney vehicle, Jay Kelly, which has kind of mixed reviews. RogerEbert.com says that ultimately the dormant register of Jay Kelly is surprisingly sweet, and it's a bit chewy. The movie is not quite a star-studded marshmallow, but it comes close. Call it Sunset Boulevard for nice guys. From the gist of it, I get is like, if you like George Clooney, you'll probably enjoy this, but it doesn't really do much to reinvent the wheel for George Clooney, and it's fine. And I didn't see Noah Baumbach's last movie, White Noise, and a lot of people who I've talked to recently said don't bother. So I don't know like how excited I am to see Jay Kelly either, but that one's gonna come out on Netflix at the beginning of December, so it shouldn't be too hard to catch up with. The other one that has really done well with critics is this film called Hamnet. And Hamnet premiered at Telluride, and I guess it's going to have its Canadian premiere here at TIFF, where I'm going to try to watch it this upcoming week. And Vulture critic Bilge Ebiri calls it the most devastating movie he's seen in years. It opens November 27th. And it's a Focus Features release starring Jesse Buckley and Paul Mescal. It's directed by Academy Award-winning director Chloe Zhao. She won for Nomadland a few years ago. And the movie kind of envisions like a detailed story of William Shakespeare, Mescal plays Shakespeare, and his wife, played in this movie played by Jesse Buckley, and their terrible loss of their son at age 11. And their son's name was Hamnet, which is what the movie's named. And the idea is that the loss of their son led to William Shakespeare's greatest work. The movie's based on a 2020 novel, I believe, that was highly acclaimed and well liked, but I guess everybody who's seen Hamnet has given it really strong reviews, and I'm kind of excited to see it myself. I really liked Chloe Zhao's previous films, Nomadland and The Rider. Maybe a little less so The Eternals, the Marvel movie, but I'm excited for Hamnet. Also, another movie that got a first look was the new Springsteen movie, Deliver Me From Nowhere. And that was played at Telluride. It's going to also be playing at New York Film Festival. And RogerEbert.com says, quote, "The film is initially overburdened with cliches, but then the movie shifts. It begins to open up, becoming a soulful and meditative character study of a depressed artist laid bare." That is a 20th century release, and it opens October 24th. And I imagine it will do pretty good business for 20th century. If the Bob Dylan one did good last year, maybe there'll be an audience for the Bruce Springsteen one as well. I guess that's it for now. I'm going to be recording some more of these as I'm here at TIFF to try to, do some wrap-ups of the movies I've seen. Tomorrow I'm going to try to see the Cannes runner-up, Sentimental Value, as well as the Cannes winner, It Was Just an Accident. So maybe I'll be able to talk about those two films either tomorrow or the day after. We'll see. Anyways, let's get to some station identification. You've been listening to the It's the Pictures podcast. You can find us on Blue Sky, Instagram, Letterboxd. Look us up at It's the Pic Pod or It's the Pictures. You can also send us an email at itsthepictures@gmail.com. If you'd like to reach me, I'm more often than not on Blue Sky. You can follow me there at maxcolville.com, or you could just look me up, Max Colville. You'll probably find me on there. You can follow my Letterboxd account, but best of all, you can follow my writing at over at Substack, the itsthepictures.substack.com, where I've been doing some writing and previews of the film festivals that you could check out. So go ahead and do that, and let me know if you enjoy it. You can always, like I said, use that email, itsthepictures@gmail.com, and let me know if you're enjoying the TIFF coverage or if there's something else you'd want me to cover in the future. Love to hear it. Okay, let's do what you've been watching. So the first one that I've been watching is one of the new 4K releases from Arrow, who recently remastered the Dollars trilogy. And those films they were Sergio Leone films starring Clint Eastwood. And of course, there are a fistful of dollars, a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And Arrow released all three films over the summer with a lot of restoration work and a lot of extra features that, might be one of the best home video releases of the year. So I was excited to sit down and watch them. I revisit the first film I watched was the first one in the set, which was uh, A Fistful of Dollars, and maybe I didn't have the film knowledge for it before, but it's so painstakingly obvious how much this is a remake of Akira Kurosawa's Yojimbo, like almost down to like the minutia of the movie. Instead of Toshiro Mifune as the main character, you have Clint Eastwood, which luckily Clint Eastwood wasn't really well known when he was cast in these movies. Apparently, he was in like TV shows in America, and Sergio Leone had found him and connected with him, and with the perfect casting, he couldn't have done any better. Um, but I guess what really elevates this movie for me, and maybe for many others, is the score by Morricone, who his the score on these three movies became iconic Western scores used throughout just about anything when you can think about Western. But I still enjoyed myself watching the movie, even though it was pretty similar to Yojimbo. If you haven't seen it in a long time, or if you've never seen it, I'd certainly recommend you watch it. It's an enjoyable little watch where Clint Eastwood's character kind of he plays these rival houses against each other, where he tries to play the middleman, getting paid by both of them, and he eventually finds out that he can't keep that charade on forever. So those are from Arrow. They were released. They're like Region B 4Ks, but you can order them still, because 4K discs are region free. It's just the special features you won't be able to play on a regular 4K player, because those are region locked, because they're Region B Blu-rays. Is it worth it if you can't watch the special features to still import it? That's harder to recommend. I think it's a great transfer, and might be better than the Kino Lorber releases a few years back, which I saw like comparison screenshots between the two of them. But you're welcome to make up your mind and see which one you want to do. Either way, I recommend it. I think the limited editions have been sold out now, and they just have the standard editions, but there's not too much of a difference outside of missing a booklet and some premium packaging. So still look at picking those up. The next movie I watched, I guess, is available like on premium VOD. It's called Anxiety Club, and this movie is a documentary that follows a group of comedians. I guess like most notably for me was Mark Maron appeared in this documentary. But I think there's like probably 7 or 8 different comedians that are featured, and it talks about their struggles with anxiety, and how even though you can see them on the stage performing, deep down they're really kind of anxious people. There's another woman whose name is kind of escaping me right now, who is really at the center of it. She, outside of like Mark Maron and some other comedians, she really excuse me, carries a lot of the movie. It's her plight. Let me see. Let me make sure I get her name for you here. Tiffany Jenkins. Yeah, she's a comedian, I guess, and she goes to the movie and talks about her struggles with anxiety and raising her 2 kids, and at the time of her husband. I guess apparently they're divorced now, but in the movie they're still together. Other comedians that are featured in the movie are Joe List, Aparna Narsharella, Ava Victor, Mark Normad, and more. And I don't know. I think it was a clever way to talk about anxiety, because it's not exactly the most fun to talk about. It's debilitating to live with. But to know that the comedians are struggling and they can kind of use humor to combat their struggles makes it a little bit more palatable to watch and sit down and enjoy. So, I don't know if you're interested to learn more about anxiety, or if you like the specific comedians that were involved with it, I would give it a recommend. I don't think it necessarily reinvents the wheel with documentaries, but I was certainly pretty captivated in it, and wanted to know more about each of the comedians featured throughout the documentary. So, all right, that's the pre-TIFF show. I wanted to record this one to get it on the books and share my thoughts about some news and some early fall festival reviews. But stay on the lookout for more It's a Pictures podcast coming out in the next few days. I've got some more reviews and coverage coming out of TIFF. All right. Thank you, everyone. Night.